I wake up most days seeing and reading about awesome projects and real frontier pioneers, right? They're looking for and they're creating real change with intelligence, common sense, self-responsibility, true leadership. But occasionally I wake up and my brain just wants to explode and I feel disheartened. I see sales funnels, I see videos, I see TikToks projecting a certain narrative. But then I know that behind the scenes in real life, the truth is very different in their personal situations. Now, she may be little, but she's fierce. I've copped some flack for speaking up. But I think that's ego, right? People invest in something, they go too far deep, so their ego doesn't want to listen. But don't shoot the messenger of fact. Just fact, not emotionally fueled nonsense, just objective meat and potatoes. And I'm just speaking out loud. I'm not saying could be wrong, could be right, but you know what? Let's have critical thought. For example, the myth that the ATO isn't a legal entity, right? That's a real truth of fantasy. And don't get me wrong, I'm all about alternative ways. But there's a persistent myth circulating in certain circles that the Australian Tax Office is not a legal entity because it wasn't officially gazetted in 1973. Now that's correct. But I feel that proponents of this idea use that claim as part of a broader narrative to suggest that taxation is voluntary and that you can just simply opt out. Look, just humbly, I feel saying that is dangerous and it relies on misinterpretation of law and partial truths. Why? To sell products, services, ideologies, to sound like one is coming from a place of authority and experience and wisdom and knowledge. So, I'm a fact finder. I'm telling you, real facts, not Facebook facts. So let's break down this myth, okay? Let's just get a bit of clarity about the ATO's legal status, because there's a difference between compulsory taxation and valid legal structures and the risks of following unverified experts. And I'm not an expert. Hey, I'm a solo mum on the Goldie, right? Who just wants to be self-responsible. Alrighty, so why does the myth exist? The claim about the ATO's non-legal status hinges on the idea that because the ATO was not gazetted in 1973, that's facts, it does not legally exist. Now this stems from a misunderstanding. Now I don't like the word understanding. We don't want to stand under anything, we want to comprehend. So it stems from a miscomprehension of gazetting and its role in the creation of government entities. So gazetting is a formal public notification process, but it is not the sole mechanism through which laws or agencies gain legal status. So this is what truther movements often ignore. Number one, the ATO's foundation. The ATO's authority actually derives from acts of Parliament, not from gazetting. The Australian Tax Office Act, 1987, the Tax Administration Act, 1953, and the Income Tax Assessment Acts of 1936 and 1997 clearly establish the ATO's role in administering and enforcing tax laws. The Commissioner of Taxation and the Deputy Tax Commissioners, under whose authority the ATO operates, has been a legal position since 1910, when federal taxation was first introduced. Number 2, misunderstanding, miscomprehending, gazetting. Now, gazetting is a method of public notification. It is only required when specified by legislation. So many government bodies, unfortunately, including the ATO, do not require gazetting to operate legally. I know it's bullshit, but it's fact. The claim that the ATO must have been gazetted in 1973 is irrelevant. The ATO's existence is based on statutory authority granted by Parliament, that old chestnut, not an administrative publication. Number 3, selective misinterpretation of case law. So some use court cases like Moeliker versus Chapman 2000 to argue that the ATO is not a legal entity. However, this is a misinterpretation. Oh, the case happened, the case took place. However, the case addressed whether the ATO as an entity could be considered separate from the Commissioner of Taxation for certain legal claims. The court clarified that the ATO operates through the Commissioner, who holds legal authority. That's it. Please look up that case, because I did. I looked it up about 55 times. 55, yeah. Oh, tax is not voluntary, right? So this is all in the language. The claim that taxation in Australia is voluntary is equally flawed. Here's why. Taxes are passed by the Parliament, which has the constitutional authority to impose taxes under Section 51, Section 2 of the Australian Constitution. Now, okay, some truthers will say, does the Constitution even exist, blah, blah, blah. We're not going down that rabbit hole today. The Income Tax Assessment Acts of 36 and 97 legally obligate Australians to lodge tax returns, pay taxes and maintain proper financial records of income that is regarded under that sphere. Okay, it's all in the detail. The ATO enforces these laws, and failure to comply can result in penalties, interests, and even criminal prosecution. What matters is where the dollars lie and what we're doing with the dollars. I'm just going to add that, okay? In short, taxation under that sphere, under that jurisdiction, is not optional. Claims to the contrary often rely on cherry-picked information, misinterpretation, or outright fabrications that suit their narrative, right? Now, there are valid structures that exist. You know, while taxation is compulsory for most individuals and businesses, there are legitimate structures under which groups or organisations can operate with exemptions, special status, right? Being able to self-assess properly. Non-profit activities and other organisations can self-assess, all right, under their own jurisdiction. But under the ATO's jurisdiction, they can do it under Division 50 of the Income Tax Assessment Act 1997. All right? You know, educational, cultural, community service entities can absolutely do that, whether they have an ABN or not. Now, if you have an ABN, again, I know nothing about this stuff. I just looked at fact. If you have an ABN, as of the 1st of July of this year, you do actually have to submit some non-profit assessments to the ATO. That's if you're operating under their jurisdiction. Okay, so there are other structures that are non-commercial, all right, that solely operate for the benefit of members, for example. But it's really important that those structures adhere to specific covenants, lawful rights, right? And they also need to make sure that that human energy isn't PSI, personal services income. And these structures do need to operate transparently, right? They need to follow the water wheel ethos. And they can't do trade and commerce with the public. They need to make sure that their structures are based on actual international treaties, that they need to comply with the PSI rules, ensuring that income is not used for personal financial gain. And I find a lot of the truthers that are sharing this stuff, all those dollars are for their own personal gain. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. All right, and it's really important that one is aligning with international covenants and lawful rights to ensure that those structures are operating under frameworks to remain independent from government taxation systems. By doing that, that's not saying tax is voluntary, okay? It's all in the nuances, the language, okay? And these structures require rigorous compliance, right? Self-compliance, be self-autonomous, self-responsible to avoid penalties, authorities, audits, right? And so I say this. Now, if you know me personally, you know I'm all for alternative thinking in different ways. And, my friends would say I'm a conspiracy theorist, okay? But we need to debunk certain tinfoil hat wearing brigade crap, okay? It's from self-proclaimed experts who profit from misinformation. You know, these individuals, they'll often sell books or courses or exit the matrix products. And they're preying on our frustration with the system. I'm frustrated with it. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you are too, because most of my crew are, right? But, all right, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. I want you, whoever's selling this stuff, I want you to look them up. I want you to look them up on ASIC, ATO, District Court, Supreme Court listings. Work out, are they defendants, are they plaintiffs in cases? Are they running under these things that they're selling, or are they running under proprietary limited companies? Right? I want you to do your due diligence. Look for the sales pitch. You might be in a sales funnel that you don't even know that you're in. All right? In the guise of, we're here to help you. Guess what? They're just modeling what the government says to us. We're here for your safety. We're here to look after you. Just check what their high ticket items are. All right? And the biggest red flag of all, which is so hard because there's so much misinformation out there, if their advice contradicts what they're doing in real life. Now, how do we know what they're doing in real life? Use your noggin. Find out their exact full real name, their real name. Look them up. Okay? Do not rely on their 5% truths taken out of context. I actually think they believe the stuff that they're saying, by the way. I don't think they're lying. They believe it. All right? Look at case law. Look at government publications, non-government publications. Most importantly, seek independent guidance from more than one, right? If you went to a specialist and they said, we've got to sever your arm off, we've got to take that off, would you go, yeah, sure, okay, doc? You'd go see 3 other specialists first before doing that, all right? Or not doing that. Maybe it's too early to say this, but I get it. I feel frustrated with the government. I feel so overwhelmed with numbers and tax and financial responsibilities and difficulties. And I feel like getting in the whirlwind of emotion about this stuff can make us susceptible to quick fixes or to grand promises and solutions. Don't get hoodwinked. Don't outsource your critical thinking, all right? Because that's just going to keep you trapped in a different system, right? You're trying to escape. You're a seeker of truth. That is so powerful. That is wonderful. But trust your gut. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Do fair, objective research. Use official sources. Consult a myriad of experts, leaders, guidance, counsel. Empowered knowledge is your best protection against misinformation. So, I didn't expect for this to go this long. Most people won't even listen to this, and that's, I don't care. If one person gains something from this, it's great. So really, the ATO is a legal entity. It doesn't matter if it wasn't gazetted or not, okay? Tax is not voluntary if you're under their jurisdiction, okay? It's important to do your due diligence. Look for transparency. I have always been a looker of answers. So if you are looking for answers, or new ways to navigate systems, empower yourself with knowledge. Do your own due diligence. Don't be reactive, right? If someone is charging you dollars just to get some guidance and your foundational information, where are those dollars going? Is it to, buy their next car? Or is it for a really non-profit being of service project, right? Autonomy lies in informed decisions, not in tinfoil hat myths. That's all I have to say. It's Friday. Have a great day. Don't shoot the messenger of just facts. This stuff that I've just shared hasn't come from my divine wisdom. I didn't get a download overnight. I looked it up. And if you can prove me wrong on any point that I have said today, I encourage that, please. Prove me wrong on anything I've said, because I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just sharing stuff. Tell me bits that I've missed out. Please do, because I am a sponge of learning. Have a great day.